Successful people need coaches too. So many people that I work with and have worked with over the last decade or so are outwardly successful, but on the inside, they don't feel it. And often that brings guilt and shame and comparison. And so helping people in that space is so rewarding because many of us have grown up thinking that success looks a particular way. Maybe we think that we need to have a family. Maybe we think we need to have a particular job title or car or house or any of these things. And we've grown up with a success template, which probably hasn't been ours. And we have worked hard and we've done what we were meant to do. And then often we've got there. And what we thought and perceived we would be feeling and thinking isn't there. Maybe we feel a little bit disenfranchised. Maybe we feel a little bit disassociated. Maybe we feel that we have sacrificed relationships, time, our well being to get there. And we realize that it wasn't probably worth it. So even when people are looking successful on paper, there's so much of the work to be done. And that's where coaching comes in. So if you're thinking your job is what other people aspire to do, but you're unfulfilled, you are not alone. So, first of all, this is about acknowledging that your idea of success can change. And just because you thought that something was going to make you happy or fulfilled or make you feel a particular way, and it doesn't, it isn't something negative about you. It's because we don't actually know how we'll feel, what we'll be thinking, anything else until we get there. So, what we're doing is we're always anticipating the future. We're thinking, oh, maybe when I've got X or Y, maybe when I can do this, maybe when I've got to this level, it will be easier. But because we are not really acknowledging our feelings and often what is going on in our body or our thoughts, and we're brushing them aside because we're moving forward, we can get to a place and it can really hit us hard. So we might be at the top of our game in terms of our career, but we might be feeling disassociated and unhappy. So first thing that we always do as coaches is we look at, what does success really mean to you now? Knowing what you know, not making yourself feel bad for your past choices, but knowing what you know now, how would you define success? What would you be like? What would you be feeling, thinking? What would you be doing? Who would you surround yourself with? Where would you be if you were successful? So it's really about that reimagination. And this is often where people make those decisions. Maybe they're going to move to a different country. Maybe they're going to downsize where they live. Maybe they're going to change the way they work because what they've thought has worked or what has worked has changed. Or maybe they just need to do a few tweaks. Maybe it's not about a massive shift, but maybe they need to be clearer on their boundaries. Maybe they do need to prioritize seeing their friends above always doing work. So, really thinking about, actually, what are the new parameters of success? And that can be your way forward. That can be the vision that you hold. And then it's thinking about, like, where am I now and how can I shift? How can I create more meaning? How can I create more connection? How can I move towards where I want to be in a way that is manageable and works for me? I often see people coming, maybe I remember really clearly a client I had quite a lot of years ago was a partner in a professional services firm. And they really, really were unhappy and unfulfilled. And they wanted to do something completely different. But actually, we needed to think about, what is your path? Because right now you have created a life and a lifestyle where you're funding it through this job. And if you just stopped, what would that mean for everything else? So there is often this grounded in reality piece. Often the people that you perceive as really successful have created these gilded cages where their success is reliant on them still being the CEO, still being the partner, still having the business. And they have to think about, well, actually, how can I navigate a change rather than just stopping? How can I start to thrive personally, but also ensure that I have the lifestyle that I want? And so it might be looking at that lifestyle. It might be thinking about the small steps rather than the big changes. It might be thinking about, actually, what does thriving look like? Again, Stephen Bartlett talked about this quite recently, that often people say, oh, entrepreneurship is the way forward. Everyone should run their own business. But actually, it doesn't work for everyone. And it can create even more overwhelm and stress for some people. So if you are a high performer and you're not feeling fulfilled, if you are a high performer and success as you felt is not success in terms of where you want to be now, do not worry. Work with a coach, understand where you are, understand where you want to be, and then navigate a plan forward. It is not a personal failure to have got somewhere and decided it's not the place for you. In fact, it is a personal success because you understand yourself better. And the more that we can understand ourselves, the more we can change.